Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're doing a special edition of our Spotlight on the Community Show from the San Diego County Sheriff's headquarters. We are thrilled to have on the air with us Bridget Wright. She is the program coordinator for the Reentry Services Division of the Sheriff's Office. How you doing there, Bridget?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing great. I am thrilled to have on a former colleague. I'm going to call her a colleague because we both were in the media business. I worked with San Diego Union Tribune for about 1 billion years, and Kimberly King was just a stellar news anchor, reporter, you name it, for NBC, if I'm not mistaken. How many years?
Gosh, about 15 with NBC, and then I went on to CBS. I worked a little bit with PBS, so long ago and far away.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You still got it, all that. She's the media relations director now for the Sheriff's Department. She's going to join us on this interview. So, Bridget, how long have you been with the Sheriff's Division?
10 years this month.
In the same division?
Yes, Reentry Services.
What does Reentry Services do?
Reentry Services focuses on providing evidence-based reentry services striving to reduce recidivism. We want to increase public safety in collaboration with our criminal justice partners and the community agencies.
Right. So what is the percentage of recidivism these days? And it just varies, I imagine?
That is not something we typically measure because we invest in our population from multiple programs, from vocational, educational, psychosocial programs that all support them in their preparation for reentry. So we can't really distinguish one specific agency that's making the biggest difference because we believe they're all contributing to their success.
And they are. You know, we're big fans of groups that work in that area, whether it's Second Chance or other groups. I know you're familiar with them. And when you see the results of folks that are not going back into, incarceration. And you think about, okay, I'm saving, $75,000 to $100,000 a year, times how many years, times how many people. If nothing else, that's a great economic benefit for doing that. And Kimberly, you jump in and ask any questions you'd like as well on this aspect of it. So, how many programs do you offer?
We have 4 tracks that we focus on. So we have a variety of programs that fall under our vocational career technical education programs. So they're earning college credits in addition to the vocational skills. We also offer educational programs, high school equivalency, college courses. We focus on psychosocial things like parenting or anger management, cognitive behavioral therapy, and wellness. Wellness is a big one for people starting new hobbies and recognizing that there are other things out there for them to invest in to help themselves cope. Things like yoga, meditation, art, things like that.
You know what? It's so interesting. And Drew, back in the day, I don't know if you have been to Las Colinas back in the day, but it is not.
I lived in Santee for 9 years.
So now, if you haven't been by, it looks like a college campus. That was the one thing that I noticed when I got hired, and I've been with the sheriff's office now for about 5 months. But it's just a different design. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. It's a 45-acre campus. When we opened Las Colinas, I believe, 10 years ago. But when Las Colinas first opened, it was designed specifically by someone who had experience designing detention facilities, college campuses, and a real focus on gender responsiveness. So you'll see on our campus a lot of natural light in the housing units, a lot of light colors. We put murals in all of the housing units of local landscapes to create a more normative environment. We want the ladies to feel like they are ready for their release and ready to navigate the community.
Right. When you do this career technical education and all the different programs, are you doing it when they are in incarceration or when they come right out, or how does that work?
No, Reentry Services does all of the programming in custody.
Okay.
Some of our programs are unique. For instance, our civics program, which is community-involved vocational incarcerated crew services. It's a mouthful. But that crew will go out, and we partner with Parks and Rec, and they go out in the community and they do weed abatement for fire prevention and take care of a lot of the local parks and plant oak trees. We grow about 2,000 oak trees a year for Parks and Rec.
Right. And when does that program start? Does it start when they're about ready to be 6 months from release, or they start it could be at any time when they're serving?
We want to start serving them as soon as we possibly can to prepare them for reentry. So anything that they are interested and eligible for, there are certain programs we want to make sure they complete prior to release. So things like our culinary arts program, it's an 800-hour program, so it does require them to be in custody for approximately 6 months. So we'll look for folks that are prepared to be in custody that long so we can have them be successful in that program. And if they're there longer, we'll ask them to be our teaching assistants.
Yeah, and Kimberly, nothing more important than actually providing these folks who actually want to live on a better life and all that business with these skill sets.
And I was going to jump in because you mentioned the culinary arts program, and it's impressive. So Las Colinas, and then there's East Mesa, right? And I remember because when I first toured, I had the best coffee, and I think the cookies and the culinary. So talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. We have two culinary arts programs, one at the East Mesa facility, which is our male reentry facility, and we try to mirror services at the Las Colinas Detention and Reentry Facility. Our barista carts serve the staff, and the incarcerated persons are able to order some of them for specific programs as an incentive. But we basically have a Starbucks on site. That's a great training ground for them. We partner with Cafe Moto, who will come into the facility and train our baristas. And then on top of that, we have these great culinary arts students that are preparing the staff meals each day with fresh ingredients from our gardens that we grow on site also in our landscaping and horticultural programs. So we have a farm-to-table model, which is fantastic. And then the bakery, everybody loves a good chocolate chip cookie. So we have a really great bakery program that they earn a national certification in as well. So
there is a rule, and I did not tell Kimberly this, but we can't mention food when I have not eaten. So right now, I'm going to have to make a trip down to some of those places over here. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades. They've been doing great things in San Diego County. Honored to have Bridget Wright on with us. She's the program coordinator for Reentry Services Division, and very, very cool. Longtime friend and colleague I've worked with for many times when she was in the TV news business, and now she's the media relations director for the San Diego Sheriff's Division. That's Kimberly King. Fire away. Other questions?
Yeah, and so Bridget, when I first started with the Sheriff's Office, was really impressed with the reentry model. And I was able to sit in on somebody that came back and spoke to the women specifically at Las Colinas. Talk a little bit about some of those inspirational stories that coming back.
Absolutely. So I think it starts with our Peer Reentry Leadership Academy. We call it PRLA for short. But that is an academy we offer twice a year, and the individuals are compensated for their time. They do 20 hours of training in public speaking, resources, barriers into reentry. And then we invite those individuals to come into our facilities and inspire our population. They share their story. They talk about what resources worked for them, what didn't. And because of that academy, we've had numerous folks get hired by our community agency partners. And we've really built connections with these folks that want to give back. And it's beautiful to see, because we'll sometimes see, someone sitting in the audience who says, I want to be here one day. I want to come in and speak. And fast forward a year later, here we are. They are doing really well out in the community, working, going to college, and they want to be part of our success and share their success with us.
And one thing, can I jump in here?
Wait, of course.
One thing, the particular woman that I heard speak, it was the deputy when she was arrested. And he just looked at her, had her in the back of the car and said, you're so much better than this. You can do better. And then he contacted, I think, her mom,
Yes.
which there was, a little bit of a barrier there with she and her mom's communication, but he kept in touch with her family and really stayed, involved to make sure that she would get to the other side. And she came to speak, and I was blown away. It was really inspirational.
Yes, and the sergeant came in to see her speaking engagement as well. He was very invested, and that's exactly what we want. Those conversations can be life-changing. So that's
and you know this as well, Bridget, certainly you do, Kimberly. You're changing that one person's life, but it's not that one person. You're changing their family's life, their kids' life, their aunts, uncles, maybe their pet's life, who knows, and so forth on it. And that, I think, was so beautiful about the academy. How long are they in the academy? How long does that take?
It's only a 20-hour training, so that allows them to maintain their employment or their education investments and things like that. So they're able to get compensation for that piece, but also for their public speaking engagement.
Right. How much what type of leadership skills are taught in that academy?
It's more about them sharing their story and leading by example.
Okay.
And they learn about effective speaking, barriers to reentry. They learn about motivational interviewing and cognitive behavioral therapy as well, so that they can touch on those things during their speaking engagements to truly inspire the participants.
Yeah, we know that when you go through programs like this, there is certainly some residual effects in a positive way. And so it ties to housing, it ties to employment, it ties to everything in that aspect. Talk about the success of the academy and how it's really led to some of those things.
It has led to, again, one of our very close agency partners has hired some of those folks to work for them as peers. We're finding how important the peer role is in rehabilitation and reentry. There's nothing better than having someone pick you up from custody, from our lobby, who knows exactly what you just went through and how to overcome those barriers. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Do you work with other outside agencies as well? Do you work with leadership groups? Lead San Diego is a group that we work with and all that. Kimberly knows what that, or other groups?
Absolutely. We have contracts for services in custody, so things like the National Conflict Resolution Association.
They're great.
We also have Healthy Relationships of California coming in, Mental Health of America. Reading Legacies is one of our fantastic partners because they record our population reading a book to their kiddos, and we get to send that book and the video to the family so they stay connected to their parents while they're in custody.
I love that one, by the way. And I think with that reading literacy and just really keeping tight that connection, but also I think, aren't we redoing one of our libraries?
Yes.
So we're always looking for books, right?
Yes, our county library has been I can't even express how grateful we are to the county library and all they've done for us with book donations, book clubs, and then we have Raising a Reader at Las Colinas. It's a group to teach the women how to read to their kiddos and to connect with their children through literacy, reinforce the literacy and how important it will be for their lives. They get to take the books back out of that group, and they have really provided positive feedback about connecting to their children.
Full disclosure here, I'm just going to show you how old I am, for God's sake. So I was on Betty Mollenbrock's first advisory board a long time ago when she did the Family Literacy Foundation, and we've stayed in touch for a long time. She was just on our Spotlight show, and that's Reading Legacies, and of course she's well known in that area. And I came to know her. I was hard to believe. Past president of the Greater San Diego Reading Association a zillion years ago. Reading is the lifeblood of everything. We all know that that's an issue with those who are incarcerated, functional illiteracy. We work closely with the San Diego Council on Literacy, a group that was founded by our former publisher, Mrs. Helen Copley, in 1986. So if you're ever short of books, they have a great relationship with people that I think they distributed over 150,000 books in recent years.
I would love that connection.
Good. We're going to put you.
Prepare to open that library.
Yeah, no. We'll put you in connection with Jose Cruz. He's the longtime executive director of the Council on Literacy. Works very closely with Charles Parisi, my business partner, doing a show called The Gapminders. And I think we all know this, that, certainly there's, besides having literacy issues with those who are incarcerated, there's a cycle of, issues that come up in that area. Really interested on, the psychosocial that you work with the group on. Talk about that.
Well, we have our contractors provide some of the groups, and we have our correctional counselors provide some of those groups. So it depends. We have, for our male population, we focus on thinking for a change. We also offer anger management, parenting. And for the women, we focus on a lot of what drives their behavior and their choices, unfortunately, has been a very traumatic experience.
Sure.
So we want to work with them on coping skills, identifying, how that trauma is continuing to affect their life and how they think about their behaviors and how they process their emotions. So we have some of Stephanie Covington. She's Dr. Stephanie Covington's the leading gender responsive researcher and program developer, and she's actually local here in La Jolla. So we've recently reached out to her again to see about training our staff again, so we can have some of our male trauma curriculum also be added in and have our counselors properly trained. We want to make sure we offer gender responsive curriculums while they're in our custody, but I know a lot of them continue that work.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
We're chatting with Bridget Wright. She is the program coordinator for the Reentry Services Division of the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. I'm Drew Schlosberg, as you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing a special remote edition here. Thank you so much, folks over at the Sheriff's Division. We're at the headquarters, joined by my friend, colleague Kimberly King, who's the Media Relations Director. Before I turn it over for Kimberly for a question here, do you work with groups like the San Diego Workforce Partnership, where here are going to be the jobs in the future, okay? And we all know as the future is changing every 5 seconds, that a job you might be doing now might not be in existence 5 years from now. Do you work with them? Look, these are going to be the jobs, especially in San Diego County.
Absolutely. They operate a career center in our facilities, and they focus on linking our individuals to jobs in the community that provide a livable wage. I think that's the most important piece. We want to set them up for success, and they actually know a lot about our vocational programs and career technical education training, so that we can use those skills to build their resumes, and they leave with a resume and linkage to employment. That's the goal.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this with some of the folks here before, and Kimberly and I have talked about it. And of course, when Sheriff Martinez was on the show, we talked about the many, many careers that are in the Sheriff's Department. One of the groups that I've been honored to work with is the Classroom of the Future Foundation. It's been around since '97, and it's all focused on careers, college and careers and pathways and all this. I'm going to invite you, Bridget, and you too, Kimberly. Hope you're available on October the 24th. The Classroom of the Future Foundation is putting on its 4th soup tank, and it's based on Shark Tank. And that is, we're having 9 superintendents from the county school districts do a 3-minute pitch to business folks on, talking about what they need in their deals in schools and school districts and all that business. It's at USD, and at the same day, we're going to welcome to the San Diego County, the new superintendent of county schools is Gloria Cerisa hard to believe it's the first female county superintendent, and she's great. Anyway, but it's all about careers and all that. We'd love to have you, especially in the work that you're doing, come to and see what's going on in that aspect of it. Kimberly, what other questions we have?
One
for
last
Bridget?
thing I would love to talk to you about is the Veterans Moving Forward module, which is right in time for Veterans Day, but always, this is actually in the national spotlight, I believe. So what about that?
The Veterans Moving Forward program is in our Vista Detention Facility. It's comprised of individuals that have all experienced the military on some level, but that brotherhood component is what connects them so much. And then we have a dedicated correctional counselor and a dedicated deputy who really build those relationships with the participants, understand their needs and what we can provide before they leave, and also linking them to VA services. They'll come in and get them set up with housing and whatever needs they might need assistance meeting.
With veterans, near and dear to our heart also, we've been working very closely with the San Diego Military Advisory Council for a zillion years, of course, and San Diego being the number one military port in the country, on all the folks we have here from the Marines, of course, and with the Navy, there's Coast Guard, smattering of Air Force and Army in that area. And I think that, what's great about it, we love shouting this out, they come up with a military economic impact or report every single year. I'm going to be honored to be doing a panel discussion on it. It's in a couple weeks or so. The military contributes direct revenue to this area, $34 billion, and $54 billion in indirect costs. There's nothing close. There's nothing second in this area. So it's so important to support what you just talked about with those veterans at all. Bridget, what can our listeners do to help support what you're doing? Can they give their time, their treasure, their talent, and everything in between?
I think the biggest request we would have is just to continue to support our folks as they return to the community, partnering with agencies like Workforce Partnership, Neighborhood House Association. These are some of our very close partners that have hired some of our individuals leaving custody and see the potential and believe in second chances, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I think, especially if you can make it to our Soup Tank 4.0, that's a good message that you can send to. We're going to have a ton of the county superintendents there as well, and hiring. I mean, there may be some issues. Obviously, we have got to do some vetting and all that, but doing some work with the schools is just so invaluable in that area as well. So maybe there's some other opportunities in there. Kimberly, any other final comments?
This has been great. It's hopefully you've learned as much as I've learned, and just giving people a second chance. We all make mistakes, and when you can see them in a human light, I think this is what's so refreshing to hear, that we do have reentry services, and not a lot of people know about them.
Right. Is there a website people can go to learn more about what you're doing?
Absolutely. On the Sheriff's Public website, there's a Reentry Services Division page that you can review all of our vocational programs. PRLA, there's a link there for our Peer Reentry Leadership Academy, and all kinds of information about what we offer while our population is in custody. But ultimately, the goal is for us to take this as an opportunity while they're here and invest in them, invest in their families, like you mentioned. It's so rewarding to stay connected to these individuals out in the community. They'll invite us to their graduations and getting to meet their kiddos. It's been an incredible journey. So.
Well, spot on. You change one life, you're changing multiple lives in this area, and not only just for that time, forever, for the rest of their life. And think about the tentacles, so to speak, that they're going to be touching moving forward. Bridget Wright, what an honor chatting with you on this. Program coordinator for the Reentry Services Division. Question for you, without trying to break any privacy laws and all that. If you're interested, would love to have somebody that's gone through your program, okay, and now that has reentered the workforce and is doing some things, and have you come back on our Spotlight show somewhere down the road, or two of them that have benefited from it. They're working for Neighborhood House, or they're working for Workforce Partnership, and talk about how important the reentry program was and what they're doing now.
Absolutely. I would love that opportunity.
Consider that a done deal. Kimberly King, thank you so much for arranging just a great day for us over here, and all the great things you have done, certainly in the media world in San Diego County. Wishing you nothing but great success as the Media Relations Director.
Thank you so much, and thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for putting a positive light in a world that needs to hear it the most.
We need to hear it a lot. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.